What's going on, Neon Nation? Welcome back for another lore video, this time on the new USA and the Unification or Metal Wars. This is an integral event which started in 2069 after the Age of the Red, the Fourth Corporate War and the collapse, so let's get a bit of a refresher to give some context to this pivotal and most recent conflict in the world of Cyberpunk. If you'd like more in-depth information on the years prior to the reunification period, there will be links in the pinned comment. The collapse was a turbulent period of time in what we now call the old USA's history. The first three corporate wars, as well as stock manipulations by the Gang of Four, accelerated and led to total economic, social, and political breakdown, as well as a crash of '94 that led to years of hardships and what is largely known as the worst catastrophe of the 21st century. The Fourth Corporate War began in late 2021, which eventually pitted Militech and Arasaka against each other. The megacorp rivals proceeded through different stages of conflict, from covert to more overt means that not only shook the US, but also many parts of the world as cities burned and trade routes dissolved, leaving entire economies on life support. This culminated in the detonation of a nuclear weapon in Arasaka Towers in Night City, forcing the president at the time, Elizabeth Crest, to banish Arasaka shortly after, nationalizing Militech in the process. Post-war, riots and pockets of rebellion were still rampant across the world, but this inevitably settled into a time of rebuilding and recovery, with many of the nomad groups created as a byproduct of the collapse becoming a necessary vessel for the beating heart of the Americas. Shipping and trade routes were largely dominated by nomads who had the means, infrastructure, and skills to traverse these routes. Night City, the epicenter of the devastation, began its recovery process mainly on the backs of its residents, as Crest had largely abandoned any sort of recovery efforts. Between 2035 and 2069, we had the period of reunification. During the beginning, many of the abandoned and decrepit towns were rebuilt and repopulated, and rumors started to spread across Night City and the globe that Arasaka had been scapegoated for destroying their own tower by the president. Arasaka, back in Asia, saw bouts of internal conflict which drove the corporation into three warring factions. At the end of 2069, the recently elected President Rosalind Myers presented a unification program extending federal rule to the free states in an attempt to unify the country. Most of these free states, including Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Montana, Arizona, Nevada, as well as North California, opposed unification. The new USA, backed by Militech, pressured these states hard, but unbeknownst to them, these states were secretly backed by Arasaka. This conflict between the new USA and the separatist states evolved into what was called the Metal Wars, and was fought with the most cutting-edge military technology and weaponry. Night City avoided the fighting by a sliver, although North and South California ended up on opposite sides of the coin, with NorCal wanting to retain autonomy and South California siding with NUSA troops. In the year 2070, new USA troops marched to the outskirts of Night City, but were thwarted by Councilman Lucius Rhine, who utilized his vast list of contacts to call upon Arasaka for protection. Within days, an Arasaka supercarrier descended upon Coronado Bay, and hours after, NUSA troops had withdrawn, fearing this extended conflict would cause collateral damage. After this, the Unification Treaty was signed, where the free states retained their autonomy, agreeing to participate in the nation to some degree and cease conflict. In the aftermath, Night City was rededicated as an international free city, independent from the laws and governing bodies of both North California and the new USA. Night City was embolstered and kept alive with the support of the megacorporations, whose infusion of money and assets revitalized the city. This was capped off with the building of the new Arasaka headquarters in downtown, in the same spot as they were before the towers were destroyed in 2023. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and for more Cyberpunk lore, join the Neon Nation community by subscribing to the Neon Arcade.